Welcome to Mrigashira, a podcast that communicates with communicators. It's brought to you in association with Digitales. I'm Radha Krishnan. Let's begin. It was a year ago that Mrigashira took shape as a podcast for PR and communication professionals. In this 1 year, we have had our share of fun, learning, knowledge, and a lot of support from our guests and listeners. I'm also grateful to my colleagues Abhishek Sinha, entire Digitales team, and Charu Raizada. In fact, I thought it would be good that Abhishek, Charu, and I discuss our journey over the last 1 year. So here we go.
Hi Abhishek, hi Charu. It's great to meet you guys on this show as we record the show. So before I start anything else, I must thank both of you and the entire Digitales team, because had it not been for you guys, Mrigashira wouldn't have been the way it is today. And I must also say that what started off as a very small idea of mine, I can't even say dream, it was just probably an idea. You guys have carried it forward so superbly, and going by the feedback that we have received so far, together we have much more miles to go and many accolades to pick as we progress along. So thank you both for that.
Thank you actually for opening your heart and the doors for me to enter Mrigashira. I was literally contemplating starting my podcast in June 2020, July, and obviously work pressures and that whole fear of technology. How is it going to be edited? What's going to happen? Was really making me reticent. When I got to know you as a person, thanks to Wiki, PR and Digital Council, and I got to know a bit about Mrigashira, and I just asked you one fine day, is it okay if I join you? And you were like, please, yes, you're more than welcome. For me, it was like, okay, this is like my dream come true. I don't have to get into the hassles of producing. And thank you, Abhishek, so much, and the team at Digitales, because you guys have been taking that entire burden off. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Charu, and thank you very much, Radha. I must tell you that this was sort of a dream which has come true now. I remember talking to you about this product, and then you tossed up the idea of doing a podcast. We got together, you initiated a few episodes in the beginning. Then Charu also came on board, and since then the way Charu has been driving the content, and you also pitching in and getting us guests who are the leaders in the industry, that is something which we were looking forward to. And I'm so glad that we have been able to get the right content, right guest, right kind of storytelling. The objective of the whole podcast was to initiate some conversation in the media industry, media and communication industry, and we've been able to move some distance in that direction. It's going to be a good journey from here onward.
I want to know the whole thing behind the title Mrigashira, because it's so intriguing. Now I want to know the story behind why you chose Mrigashira.
My father had told me at some point in time many years ago that if you really do something in the creative area, whether it is writing or anything of that kind, then you should use the word Mrigashira. I think it was at the back of my mind. But then when this whole podcast thing came about, I was just thinking that why don't I call it Mrigashira? And then I just Googled a little bit to know how I can connect to what I'm trying to do. And it all threw up things like quest for knowledge. So I just felt that why not I make it happen, right? I know for a fact that was probably one of the conditions that I put to Abhishek when I started having conversations with him and his team around April, May last year, that whatever it is, we're going to call it Mrigashira. So they were like, yeah, it's okay, we will do it. And Charu, you are right, because even I have till date not felt the burden of how it's getting edited, what's going to happen, who's going to upload, who's going to track, how are we making sure that the creatives are happening on time. And I think it's a great credit to a team because of their commitment. Digitales is a digital marketing agency, right? And they do have their own priorities, but the commitment to this has been unwavering.
whole project, the whole product called Mrigashira is no less than a number one client for us, because when we chalk out our priorities for a week or for the month, we keep this particular product as the top of our to-do list, and the team also internally is now geared up towards meeting deadlines. The kind of content commitment that we have been getting from you and Charu both, very reassuring. So it's a teamwork, and I'm sure that this is going to go a long distance from here, Radha and Charu.
Say I have my selfish motives here, because what better way to keep learning from the best. And for me, best thing about Mrigashira podcast is that we have something to offer for all age groups. It's actually a perfect platform to do something for the industry, which has given me so much in the last 2 decades. And thirdly, it keeps my love for the microphone alive. Radha, because she's been a journalist, she knows which is the kind of story which is going to really, which needs some new insights. Because of shrinking mind spaces of people, it's really important to provide something which is very easy to listen to, and to dissect something which has been there in the environment. And Radha does that brilliantly using her journalist knacks. And for me, it's more about trends always, because I'm like always in the lookout for what's new, where are things headed, what's the consumer looking for, what's the industry talking about, how are brands being made, like the last episode we did on sustainable brands. So I think together we make a great team when it comes to content.
It's almost like, if I were to visualize it like a relay race, then I ran the first 100 meters, then round 2, round 3, round 4, and whatever number of rounds is you. If I were to look back and see in the last 4 to 5 months, I don't think I've come to any a stage where I would have sort of said, we don't have anything and let me do something. We have had our own areas of agreements and disagreements, but I think the beauty is that we all converge, we all discuss, understand each other's point of view, and I think that is what is underlying aspect of this team. Because anybody, like you pointed out, Abhishek, that you have had churn in your team, but whoever comes on board, they quickly get into the groove, they understand, they cooperate. My hunch is that we are on for many more big things. This is just the beginning. We have just good that we have done 1 full year. I think we are on for many more bigger things, and we should actually, like what Charu rightly pointed out, look for trends, look for news-oriented articles, podcasts, and we should continue that quest. And if in fact that brings me to my next open question: what you thought was a very challenging moment?
I don't think I really had a challenge where content is concerned. Yes, the challenge I would say is to really plan ahead and think of new topics. But I think that's the fun part, right?
I've never had any challenge. I remember getting a few episodes done by somebody who's based out of a very small town in Gujarat. So I had to tell him what exactly needs to be done when he's sitting on the edit table. But after 1 or 2 episodes, that particular person of my team also got going, and since then we have never looked back. It's now the team which is responsible for the production of this podcast is fully in line with our thought process, and they are doing it brilliantly, I guess.
People want to understand where do we stand in terms of engagement. Really would like to thank them. I do understand that PodTrack, which is the standard for podcast analytics, has recognized Mrigashira, and which is a big thing.
So we have been able to go a very long distance in terms of where we will begin and where we have reached. So we have got more than 700 unique listeners in this particular genre, and since it's a B2B podcast, so numbers are never going to be phenomenal, because I think we are moving in the right direction. So in last 1 year, if we have not spent even a single penny on the marketing of this podcast, the growth which we have seen is only organic growth. So recently we have got our 100th follower on LinkedIn. So these small milestones, they also matter to us a lot, because when you're not spending money and you're only playing on the merit of your content, so even a one single addition in your listeners or your followers matters a lot.
The very fact that Mrigashira is not on one platform, we have our own website, and thanks to you guys,
Right.
it's on Spotify, it's on Podbean, it's on Amazon Music, it's on iTunes, Google Podcasts, almost 25 platforms, which is huge. And what's even more interesting is the fact, which you had pointed out earlier, is that we not only have listenership in India, but also from other continents, which is amazing, right?
Absolutely. In fact, we can probably proudly say that we are the only communication podcast in India that is being, broadcast on so many platforms, plus have our own website, plus also have partnerships in place. We've had a very continuous and a consistent support from AdGully, where they carry our podcast link and they carry our interviews. And we've also now our partnership with Bloomberg Quint in a very small way, where they are trying to promote our podcasts at relevant platforms of marketing platforms of theirs, right? I can't see anybody else who is so focused on a particular sector or an industry having this robust and this mature, podcast going. I mean, I can't think of one like that.
Getting traction through the content which is posted by AdGully, and I think it's a fantastic partnership. And thank you to AdGully for coming on board and supporting us in such a big way.
It's a great moment for me when Mr. Ganapati and Bijoya agreed very readily, and they sort of said we could carry some of these because the content is something that could be of relevance to our audience as well. And then consistently, they are definitely grateful to them for supporting us from.
Something interesting that I would like to add here, because of AdGully partnership, we are getting a lot of downloads and listeners for our previous episodes also. So it's not that the current episode is only getting some traction, but once a person goes to AdGully, reads about a particular podcast, then he is directed to our Mrigashira website, where he comes and then he listens to other podcasts also.
And I want to ask you, Charu, and also Abhishek, this last question in terms of how do you see the next 1 year of journey? What are we going to, promise our listeners and people who have really stood by us, our guests, our listeners, our community professionals who know that we've been doing this? What are we going to promise them for the next 1 year?
So I would love to get more international perspectives, a lot more trends, different types of people talking. So communications has moved beyond, it's above and beyond media, PR. It's more about building brands, being a part of the whole, being an integral part of the business objectives of the company. So as communicators, how can we wear multiple hats? How are we able to add value every possible way, even if it comes to design, even if it comes to behavior change, whole social aspect, and so many other aspects. And so I really want to see our and which actually has proved out in some ways our differentiator, as well as is very evident from the feedback we've got. So really take that to the next level, continue to bring in some great speakers, fantastic content, new insights, trends, all of that. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and as far as we are concerned, I mean, I would like to see this podcast reaching a position where we are, being approached by industry leaders, not from India, and as Charu also pointed out, but from the world over. We would like to see people coming to us and asking us to invite them for the podcast. So that is something that we are aiming at.
Your wish is my command, if I want to put it that way. So, before I close, I want to thank both of you once again. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank each and every listener who backed me, who backed this podcast all along. I want to thank each and every guest, because there are some people, who came on board in the initial weeks just because, they knew me or they knew Abhishek, and they were, gracious enough to set aside their time and talk to us. So I think, I owe a lot to them as well. So I want to thank each and every listener. I want to thank each and every celebrity who came on our show, and everybody who has wished us well. We do promise to bring the best of content. That is our intent, that's our effort. And as long as you keep supporting us, we keep bringing out this podcast. Thank you, Charu. Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Radha. Thank you very
And-
much, Charu. Thanks.
Thank you, and keep listening to Mrigashira, everyone.
That's a great sign off, Charu. Thank you.
Thank you, Charu, for that.
Hope you enjoy listening to Mrigashira, a podcast for communication folks. Do share your suggestions and feedback on mrigashira@digitales.co.in. Have a great week ahead, and do not forget to tune in next week. Adios.